Get ready to dream. Close your eyes, the story is about to begin. Owen walked through the city streets, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. The chaos around him seemed to mirror the turmoil lodged in his heart. He had lost a lot recently, a dear friend, a love that never blossomed, and, most of all, his confidence in himself as an artist. Life in the city, with its endless rush and indifferent faces, had become unbearable. He needed an escape, a place where he could rediscover the peace he longed for. That morning, when he woke up, a bold idea crossed his mind. What if he left everything behind? Determined, Owen packed a light backpack, containing only a few clothes, his sketchbook, and a pencil, and headed toward the forest that had always been a temporary escape for him. The sun shone timidly between the clouds, as if hesitant to light the path Owen had chosen. As he walked, the sounds of the city began to fade, replaced by the whisper of leaves and the songs of birds. Owen's heart started to relax, but the feeling of despair still followed him. "I need to find a place where I can listen to myself," he murmured, eyes fixed on the ground. After hours of walking, he realized he was lost. The forest, with its towering trees and deep shadows, seemed to have a purpose of its own. "What is this place?" Owen whispered, looking around. Fear began to creep into his heart, but before it could take hold, something caught his attention. A soft, almost magical light glowed between the trees. Curious, Owen followed the light, his heart racing with every step. Finally, he reached a clearing. What he saw took his breath away, an enchanted gate, adorned with flowers he had never seen before, with a golden light radiating from within. He hesitated, but an invisible force pulled him closer. "What are you waiting for, Owen?" a soft, melodic voice asked, echoing in the clearing. He turned, surprised to see a majestic owl perched on a nearby branch. Its eyes were deep and wise, as if they knew all the world's secrets. "I'm lost," Owen replied, his voice trembling. "I'm looking for peace." "You've found the hidden gardens of Magmel," the owl said, with a curious sparkle in its eyes. "I am Meridia, the guardian of this place. You've been chosen to restore the balance that has been lost. The magic of the gardens is in danger, and only those who truly seek can help." "Restore the balance?" Owen repeated, incredulous. "But I'm just an artist. What can I do?" Meridia flew closer, her eyes fixed on Owen's. "An artist has the power to see beyond what others can. You have a connection to the world's beauty, and it's that connection that can bring the magic back. Come, enter the gardens. Here, you'll find more than just peace. You'll find your true self." Filled with curiosity and a new sense of hope, Owen took a deep breath and walked through the gate. As he passed, a wave of vibrant colors and melodic sounds enveloped him. The flowers danced in the wind, and the trees seemed to whisper ancient secrets. He looked around, amazed. "This is incredible," he exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with wonder. "Yes," Meridia agreed, with a gentle smile. "But don't forget, you will face challenges. The magic of this place depends on the connection you make, not only with nature, but also with those you will meet here. They are waiting for you." Owen felt a mix of anxiety and excitement. He had found what he had been searching for, but now a new journey was beginning. He was about to discover the true meaning of peace and friendship, and fate had surprises in store that he could never have imagined. Owen walked beside Meridia, the wise owl, along a path covered with bright flowers that seemed to dance with the breeze. The air was filled with sweet, earthy scents, and the light filtering through the leaves created a spectacle of vibrant colors all around. He still felt a bit lost, but there was a sense of calm that permeated the atmosphere, as if nature itself was welcoming him. "This place is magical, isn't it?" Owen commented, admiring a bush whose flowers changed colors with every moment. "I've never seen anything like this before." "The gardens of Magmel are a refuge for those who seek healing and connection with the essence of life," Meridia replied in her soft, melodic voice. "But remember, young artist, the real magic is not only in the beauty you see, but in the experiences you live and the connections you create." Owen nodded, absorbing the owl's words. He felt like he was in a place where he could finally discover who he was, far from the weight of his past. Soon, They arrived at a crystal-clear lake, its waters reflecting the sky like a mirror. Owen approached, and as he looked at the surface, he realized he wasn't just seeing his reflection, there was something deeper there. "Meridia, what is this?" Owen asked, intrigued. "This lake is special," the owl said, landing beside him. "Here, your deepest desires manifest in visions. Look with your heart, Owen, and you will see what you truly want." He took a deep breath and leaned closer to the water. The gentle ripples on the surface began to stir, and visions started to appear. He saw himself in a peaceful space, surrounded by nature, where pain and sadness no longer held power over him. The image was so vivid that a tear rolled down his cheek. "I just want peace. Only peace," he murmured. "Then you must fight for it," Meridia said empathetically. "But you won't be alone. The path of self-discovery is often full of challenges. Are you ready?" Before Owen could respond, a playful sound interrupted the moment. A small elf, with a mischievous smile and messy hair, jumped out from behind a tree. "Challenges? I love challenges," he exclaimed, his restless hands patting his legs. "Hi, I'm Finn. And you, my friend, look like a great competitor." Owen glanced at Meridia, who nodded with a twinkle in her eyes. "Finn is a playful spirit of the gardens. He can help you discover more about yourself, but be ready to have some fun." "Have fun? I'm always ready," Owen replied, feeling a surge of excitement in his heart. "What are your rules, Finn?" "Simple. Let's play a game of courage and creativity. If you win, I'll give you a magic amulet that will let you understand the language of plants and animals," Finn said, winking. "But if you lose, you'll have to tell me the most embarrassing story of your life." Owen laughed, feeling the adrenaline rise. "Challenge accepted. What do you have in mind?" Finn made an exaggerated bow. "First, let's see who can make the prettiest leaf dance in the air. You need to use your creativity and imagination, and whatever you create has to be unique." And so, the competition began. Owen, guided by the inspiration surrounding him, picked up a bright leaf and started to mold it with his hands, using the magic of the place. He transformed it into a small bird that, when released into the wind, began to fly and dance among the flowers. Finn was impressed, his eyes shining with admiration. "Wow! You really know what you're doing." "But we still have more challenges ahead," Finn said with a wide grin. Owen was excited, and after winning a few more challenges that tested both his courage and creativity, he felt like he was becoming a part of that magical world. At the end of the challenges, Finn handed him an amulet made of a shimmering crystal wrapped in delicate roots. "Congratulations, my friend. With this, you'll be able to hear what the plants and animals have to say. It will be very useful on your journey." "Thank you, Finn. This is amazing," Owen exclaimed, holding the amulet with reverence. He already felt more connected to the garden and the creatures living within it. More importantly, he felt like he was starting to find the peace he had been searching for. Owen walked with Meridia along the winding trail of the hidden gardens of Magmel, marveling at the beauty around him. The leaves of the trees glowed in vibrant shades of green, while flowers of all colors swayed gently in the breeze. With each step, he felt his heart warm, slowly easing the pain that had been with him for so long. Then, as they emerged from a small grove, they found a young elf sitting by a shimmering lake. She had silver hair that reflected the sunlight and delicate wings, but something was wrong. The wings, usually radiant, were dull and lifeless. Owen felt a pang in his heart when he saw the sadness on the elf's face. "What happened to you?" he asked, approaching cautiously. "My name is Lyra," she replied, her voice soft but full of pain. "I was cursed by a dark spell that stole the color from my wings. Now, I'm just a shadow of who I once was." Her eyes, a mix of blue and green, reflected the sorrow of someone who had lost their essence. Meridia landed beside Owen and spoke gently. "Don't worry, Lyra. Owen is here to help restore the balance of the garden. He is strong and has a pure heart." Lyra looked at Owen with a mix of hope and doubt. "Do you really think you can help me? Many have tried, and they all failed." I don't know if I'm strong enough, Owen replied honestly. But I can't just leave you like this. We'll find a way. The young elf managed a faint smile, and for a brief moment, the colors seemed to brighten a little around her. If you're willing to try, then I can show you where it all started. Together, they followed Lyra along a path covered in flowers and moss. Owen felt a growing connection with the elf and the magic of the gardens of Magmel. As they walked, Lyra began to tell her story. The spell was cast by a dark creature, a being that feeds on the light and joy of others. It hides deep in the forest, and many are too afraid to challenge it. But we don't have to be afraid. Owen exclaimed, determined. If we're together, we can face anything. You're very brave, Lyra said, admiring his determination. I used to be like that before I lost my wings. Now, I feel like the darkness is consuming me. Owen stopped and looked directly into her eyes. You're not alone. I'm fighting my own demons too. Let's do this together. With Owen's encouragement, Lyra felt a new wave of hope. They continued their journey until they heard a noise behind some trees. It was a dark creature, a shadow twisting and moving with palpable malice. Owen's stomach turned, but he remembered Meridia's words and the strength that was growing inside him. Stay behind me, Lyra, he said, taking a stand. We won't let this shadow stop us. The creature advanced, its sharp claws gleaming in the sunlight. But instead of retreating, Owen remembered the amulet he had received from Finn, which allowed him to understand the language of nature. He felt a connection with the garden and, with it, a surge of courage. Come on, garden. Show us your strength. Owen shouted, extending his hands. The plants around them began to vibrate and grow, wrapping the shadow in their leaves and flowers. The colors began to shine brightly, and the creature paused, confused. Owen realized that the garden's magic was responding to his determination. Now, Lyra, use your power. With a graceful movement, Lyra extended her hands, and to Owen's surprise, a wave of light emanated from her. The colors began to return to her wings as she channeled her energy to drive the dark creature away. That's it. Owen encouraged, watching her transformation. We're in this together. The shadow hesitated but soon dissolved into a cloud of smoke, leaving only a shimmering glow in the air. Lyra, now with a renewed glow, looked at Owen with gratitude. You gave me strength, Owen. I can't believe we did it. It was a team effort, Owen smiled, feeling lighter. Now, let's find the source of the curse and restore your wings once and for all. And so, with newfound determination and a blossoming friendship, Owen and Lyra continued their journey, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. Owen and Lyra continued their exploration in the gardens of Magmel, surrounded by indescribable beauty that radiated from every leaf and flower. The air was filled with a magical sweetness that made the young artist's heart beat with new hope. As they walked, a gentle breeze brushed their faces, as if nature itself was greeting them. Do you feel it? Lyra asked, stopping to admire a majestic tree whose leaves glowed like emeralds in the sunlight. The garden is alive. Every corner here tells a story. Yes, Owen agreed, looking around. It's like this whole place has been waiting for us, like it wants to show us something important. Suddenly, a soft whisper filled the air, and a golden light began to form in the distance. Curious, the two approached and soon found themselves face to face with a forest spirit, an ethereal figure with long strands of grass and flowers intertwined in their hair. Their eyes shone like stars. I am Helios, guardian of this part of the garden, the spirit said, their voice as soft as the murmur of a stream. I sense that you seek something deeper. What brings you here? Owen exchanged a meaningful glance with Lyra before responding. We're trying to understand what's happening in this place. Lyra, she lost her wings due to an evil spell. Helios tilted his head, compassion crossing his face. The evil that afflicts this garden runs deeper than you can imagine. The shadows you feel, Lyra, are reflections of a power that has corrupted even the purest of spirits. But we can help, Owen said with determination. If there's a way to break the spell, we want to do it. To restore the light, You will face challenges that will test not only your strength, but also your heart, Helios warned, his voice echoing like a distant whisper. Are you ready for that? Yes, Lyra replied, newfound determination in her voice. We can't let the darkness win. I'm ready to fight. Owen nodded, feeling a wave of courage wash over him. We'll do whatever it takes. Then follow me, Helios gestured for them to follow. The first test awaits ahead. It will reveal not just your skills, but what lies within your hearts. As they walked, Owen felt the tension in the air grow. They arrived at a clearing where ancient trees formed a grand circle. In the center, a glowing fountain of water emitted a soft light, reflecting the colors of a rainbow. For each of you, there is a trial, Helios explained. The water of the fountain will show you your weaknesses, but also your strengths. You must face what you see and overcome it together. Owen hesitated, his heart pounding. What if we fail? You are stronger than you know, Helios reassured. True strength comes from unity. Remember that. Lyra was the first to approach the fountain. When she looked into the water, her reflection distorted, revealing a dark past. She saw her wings, once vibrant, now faded and lifeless. Pain and sorrow flooded her heart. I'll never be what I once was, Lyra murmured, her voice heavy with despair. Don't be so hard on yourself, Owen said, stepping closer to her. That doesn't define who you really are. You're brave and full of light, even if you can't see it now. With a deep sigh, Lyra looked at Owen, her tears shimmering in the fountain's light. Do you really believe that? I know it, he replied, confident. Together, we can restore your wings. We'll face this. Exchanging glances, Owen and Lyra took turns looking into the fountain, each seeing visions of their fears. Owen saw the traumas of his past, the losses that haunted him, while Lyra saw the loneliness that had followed her on her journey. We don't have to carry this alone, Owen said, holding Lyra's hand. We're in this together. Helios watched, satisfied. You are ready for the next challenge, he affirmed. Love and friendship are the keys that will open the doors to forgiveness. Now, let's move forward, for true magic begins with understanding. And so, the three moved on, ready to face whatever the future held for them, united by bonds that the garden's magic had only strengthened. Inside the temple, where light filtered through cracks in the ancient stone walls, an air of mystery surrounded Owen and his friends. The inscriptions on the walls seemed to tell a forgotten story, the letters intertwined with moss as if it wanted to protect the secrets there. Owen touched one of the inscriptions, feeling the pulsing energy that emanated from it. Look at this, he said, his voice softly echoing. These marks speak of a guardian, a protector of the gardens of Magmel. It seems he was corrupted by a dark power. Lyra, her wings still faded, approached and read the ancient words aloud. He was a great defender, but his light was extinguished by an insatiable desire for power. Only the truth can free him. Helios, who had been silent until that moment, looked at his friends. If we can find this guardian, perhaps we can help him. Redemption is possible, even in the deepest darkness. Owen felt a mixture of hope and fear. He knew that facing a corrupted guardian would not be an easy task, but determination grew within him. Let's find him. We need to restore the balance, not just for the garden, but for ourselves. The group headed toward the center of the temple, where a large door, carved from ancient wood, stood tall, covered in symbols that seemed to pulse in harmony with the surroundings. Owen placed his hand on the handle, and with a firm push, the door creaked open, revealing a room bathed in a soft golden light. In the center of the room stood a towering figure, the guardian, wrapped in shadows, his eyes glowing like stars in a moonless night. His presence was both majestic and terrifying. Who dares disturb my rest? The guardian's voice echoed through the walls like distant thunder. We've come seeking help, Owen replied, his heart racing. The gardens of Magmel are in danger, and we believe you may hold the key to restoring the lost magic. The guardian looked at Owen, and a spark of recognition flickered in his eyes. Magmel was corrupted, just as I was. What can a mere mortal do against such power? Lyra, gathering her courage, raised her voice. We believe you can be redeemed. If you help us, we can restore the magic and beauty of this place. A heavy silence hung in the air, and the guardian hesitated. Redemption? What do you know of pain and loss? I was a guardian, but I let the darkness consume me. Now I am just a shadow of what I once was. Owen stepped forward, remembering his own struggles. I understand pain, loss. I carry deep scars too. But I've learned that we are not alone. We can face our shadows together. The guardian hesitated, his form flickering as though an invisible wind passed through him. You speak of unity, but the darkness within me is strong. What do you propose? We'll fight together. If you allow yourself to feel again, you can break free. Together, we can face this darkness and bring back the light, Owen pleaded. A glimmer of hope lit the guardian's eyes, but it was quickly overshadowed by pain. And what if I can't be saved? What if the darkness consumes me completely? Then we'll fight to the end, because that's where true strength is found, Helios said firmly. True light shines brightest when we face the darkness together. The guardian took a deep breath, and the room seemed to tremble with the intensity of the moment. If I allow myself, if I let the light in again, perhaps I can find redemption. Owen, Lyra, and Helios prepared for the battle ahead, ready to face not only the corruption within the guardian but also the internal struggle he needed to overcome. The fight to restore the magic of the Gardens of Magmel would begin there, at the heart of the temple, where light and shadow intertwined in an ancient conflict. Owen's heart raced as, after the intense battle, the glow of magic faded, revealing the true form of the corrupted guardian. The guardian's large, threatening body, wrapped in shadows, began to dissolve, and slowly, a familiar figure emerged from the darkness. It was the spirit of his father. Owen could hardly believe what he was seeing. The similarities were undeniable, the eyes, the face, even the way he stood. A whirlwind of emotions overwhelmed him, mixing confusion with pain. Dad? Owen murmured, his voice barely a whisper. The figure in front of him hesitated, his once bright eyes now dull and clouded. Owen, my son, the guardian's voice echoed, filled with sorrow. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. You're trapped here because of this dark power? Owen asked, struggling to comprehend. What happened to you? I sought strength in the wrong places. Ambition consumed me, and in my quest for power, I lost everything I loved, including myself. The guardian bowed his head, his voice heavy with pain. I'm the reason the Gardens of Magmel are in danger. The darkness that corrupted me has spread its claws over this place. Owen felt the weight of his father's words. The pain of abandonment mixed with the understanding of what he now faced. But you can still be redeemed. We can restore the garden's magic, together. Redemption is a hard path, my son. The darkness doesn't fade easily. The guardian's figure wavered, as if the shadows around him were trying to pull him back. Owen, filled with determination, stepped forward. I won't give up on you. We can do this. Lyra and Helios are here, and together we can face this darkness. Owen shouted, his voice filled with the strength of his emotions. He remembered the lessons he had learned in the gardens about friendship, connection, and forgiveness. Please, Dad, let me help you break free. The guardian hesitated, his eyes reflecting an inner battle. You've always been so strong, Owen. Stronger than I ever was. But the pain I carry, it's heavy. What if I can't free myself? What if I hurt you again? Owen reached out his hand, his heart full of love and compassion. I trust you, Dad. The darkness that took hold of you isn't who you really are. The true essence of the Guardian is still inside you. Let me help bring it back. The Guardian looked into his son's eyes, and for the first time, a spark of light began to shine in his dull gaze. Do you really believe there's hope for me? Yes. Owen responded firmly. I believe that together, we can overcome this. We'll restore the balance of the gardens, and you can find peace again. With a deep sigh, the Guardian nodded. Then do it, connect me to the essence of who I am. Show me the way. Owen closed his eyes, focusing on memories of his father, the laughter, the moments of love and teaching. He began reciting the words of an ancient spell he had learned from Meridia, calling upon the light and strength that dwelled within him. Spirit of my father, hear my call. Let the light prevail over the darkness that imprisons you. As the words flowed, a radiant energy began to emanate from Owen, surrounding the guardian in a warm glow. The shadows around him started to fade, revealing traces of his true form. Owen could feel his father's essence connecting with the magic of the garden. This is incredible, the guardian exclaimed as the shadows receded. I feel the light returning to me. Let it in. Allow yourself to be redeemed. Owen shouted as the connection grew stronger. Together, father and son faced the remaining darkness, and the light began to shine brightly, filling the space around them. But the process required a sacrifice. Owen knew that to fully restore the guardian's essence, he would have to give up something precious. Dad, you need to let go of the pain and guilt. That's what will set us free. Tears streamed down the guardian's face as he looked at Owen, realizing the truth in his son's words. I don't want to lose you again. You won't lose me. I'll always be with you, even if I have to leave. True peace is knowing we're connected, no matter the distance. With one final look of love and understanding, the guardian let go of the pain. The light enveloped them both in a warm embrace, and in a magical instant, the guardian's essence was restored. Owen knew that by making this sacrifice, he had not only saved his father, but also brought hope back to the gardens of Mag Mell. Owen hesitated, standing before the immense beauty around him, feeling the weight of the decision he had to make. The garden, now vibrant and full of color, pulsed with renewed energy. But at the same time, a shadow loomed over them, as if the very air was thick with tension. He looked at Lyra, whose wings still glowed with a faint shimmer, and at Ilios, who wore a look of determination mixed with sadness in his eyes. You can't stay here, Owen, Lyra said, breaking the silence. If you don't leave, the balance you restored will be lost again. You are the key to this place's peace. I know, Owen replied, his voice heavy with emotion. But leaving you all, it feels like I'm tearing a part of myself away. He glanced around, feeling the connection he had formed with every leaf, every flower, and every creature now inhabiting the gardens of Mag Mell. I don't want to say goodbye. Helios stepped closer, placing a comforting hand on Owen's shoulder. True strength isn't just staying in a place you love. True strength is knowing when to let go. You've brought light to this garden, but now it's time for you to follow your own path. And what will happen to you? Owen asked, anguished. What if the garden's magic is lost again? That won't happen, Owen, Lyra said firmly. You've taught us how to fight, how to stand together. If you leave, we will protect what you helped restore. And the magic will never fade as long as there's friendship and love between us. With those words, Owen's heart warmed. He remembered the nights he had spent sharing stories with Finn, the laughter, and the challenges they had faced together. The mischievous sprite always had a quick answer, a creative solution, or a joke to ease the tension. The thought of leaving all those who had become so important to him was devastating. I just wanted to find peace, Owen murmured, his voice barely a whisper. And now, it seems like I'm being called to leave behind everything that brought me that peace. Peace is a state of mind, my friend, Ilios said. You'll find it wherever you go, as long as you carry the lessons you've learned here. The magic isn't just in the garden, it's within you. Owen looked up at the sky, where the clouds were dancing gently, as if the universe itself was listening to his pain. He took a deep breath, trying to absorb what his friends were telling him. So, if you leave, the garden will thrive, interrupted Finn, suddenly appearing with his usual mischievous grin. And I'll make sure the fun never stops. After all, who else is going to challenge me to games if you're not here? Owen couldn't help but smile at the thought of Finn's antics. You really think you can keep everything in order? Of course. Plus, I'll have Lyra and Ilios by my side. We've got more to do than just take care of the garden. We have to make sure it never forgets about you. Finn's words echoed in Owen like a glimmer of hope. He finally understood that, even though he was about to leave, the connection he had formed with the garden and his friends would never be broken. They would always be together, no matter the distance. That's right, Owen said, his voice now steady. I'll leave the garden, but I promise I'll come back. Not just in spirit, but in person. Somehow, I'll always be a part of this. Lyra's eyes sparkled with gratitude, while Helios nodded, satisfied with Owen's decision. Then let's do this together, Helios said. Let's celebrate the new life you've brought to the garden and the future that lies ahead. With renewed determination, Owen said his goodbyes to the garden, feeling his heart grow lighter. He knew a shadow still hung over them, but now he felt an inner strength that prepared him for whatever challenges lay ahead. The magic of the garden and the love of his friends would stay with him wherever he went. Owen, Lyra, Helios, and Finn gathered under the great ancient tree that stood at the center of the gardens of Mag Mell. The air was thick with tension and anticipation. The leaves glowed with a golden light, reflecting the seriousness of the task before them. Helios, with his calm and deep voice, began to lay out a plan. We need to unite all the creatures of the garden. Only together can we face the force that's approaching, Helios said, looking each of them in the eye. Each of us holds part of the magic we need to protect this place. I'll gather the sprites and fairies, Finn said, his usual playful tone now replaced by a palpable seriousness. They're quick and clever. Together, we can set traps and defenses that'll catch any enemy off guard. And I'll speak to the spirits of the forest, Lyra added, her eyes glowing with determination. They know every corner of this garden and can help guide us safely to the battle. Owen felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, but also a spark of hope. Then let's meet at dawn, he proposed. The sun will rise over us, and with it, we'll gather all the allies we can. With a nod of agreement, the group dispersed, each following their own path, but united by a greater purpose. Owen walked through the forest, feeling the magical energy pulsing around him. He called out to the creatures of the garden, his voice echoing through the trees. Friends, we need you. A great darkness is coming, and only together can we defend against it. His voice carried, and soon small beings began to emerge from the shadows. Fairies with shimmering wings, mischievous sprites, and even forest animals gathered around him, drawn by the urgency of his words. Meanwhile, Lyra and Helios ventured to other parts of the garden. Lyra approached a group of fairies dancing in a field of flowers, their ethereal beauty overshadowed by the worry on their faces. Fairies, we need your help. An ancient evil threatens the gardens of Mag Mell. Can you help us summon the ancestral spirits? Lyra pleaded. The fairies, sensing the seriousness of the situation, agreed to lend their strength. We will dance under the moonlight and call the spirits. They will hear our call, one of them replied, determination lighting up her gaze. At the same time, Helios spoke to the forest spirits, who appeared as ethereal silhouettes among the trees. Old friends, the balance of our home is in danger. We need you to join us to protect this sacred place, he implored, his voice reverberating like a whisper through the forest. The spirits vibrated in response, a collective murmur of agreement. We are with you, Helios. Protecting the forest is our mission. Together, we will face the darkness. At dawn, Owen, Lyra, Helios, and Finn gathered again under the great tree. The sun rose on the horizon, illuminating the garden with a golden, vibrant light. Around them, creatures of all shapes and sizes were present, united in a single cause. Are we ready? Owen asked, his voice steady, though his heart was racing. Yes, the sprites, fairies, and animals shouted in unison, creating a chorus of determination that echoed through the garden. Then let's begin the ceremony, Lyra said, her voice strong with confidence. We need to unite our forces and call upon the protection of the ancestral spirits. They formed a circle, each one holding the hands of the others. Owen felt the magical energy flowing between them, connecting their souls. Together, they began to chant an ancient song, a melody that spoke of unity and strength. Their voices intertwined, forming a powerful harmony that reverberated through the forest. As the song grew in intensity, the air around them began to shimmer. The leaves of the tree danced to the rhythm of the music, and a wave of magical energy started to form, enveloping the group in a golden glow. Now! Finn shouted, his eyes glowing with excitement. Let's call the spirits. With a final chord, the ground trembled slightly beneath their feet, and a radiant light exploded from the center of the circle. The entire garden seemed to vibrate with the power of their invocation, and the ancestral spirits began to appear, their ethereal forms floating around them. "We are here, children of the forest," echoed a deep voice, reverberating through the trees. "Together, we will be the light against the darkness." Owen looked around, feeling the power of that union. It was more than he had ever imagined. It was a collective force, a magic that pulsed with life and hope. They were ready for what was coming. Owen was surrounded by a dense, dark mist that seemed to form from his own memories. Visions danced before his eyes, images of a life filled with regrets and fears. He saw the city where he grew up, the streets he walked alone, the loneliness that wrapped around him like a heavy cloak. The darkness whispered in his mind, trying to convince him that everything he had done was in vain. "You'll never be enough, Owen," the voice echoed, a whisper that seemed to come from all directions. "You ran away, but you can never escape who you really are." Owen clenched his fists, feeling the tension building inside him. He wasn't going to let those thoughts take over. "No, that's not me," he shouted, his voice echoing through the gloom. "I'm not that lost boy anymore." As the visions continued, one image stood out, his father, with a sad, disappointed look. Owen felt a knot in his stomach, the pain of losing the one he loved most. "Why did you leave me, Dad?" he murmured, the anguish almost choking him. "You didn't leave me, Owen. You didn't come looking for me," his father's voice echoed in his mind, and Owen realized it was an echo of his own insecurities. He remembered moments when he had given up, when he had distanced himself from those who cared about him. The guilt nearly consumed him, but he remembered Meridia, Lyra, and Finn. They were by his side, and together they faced the darkness threatening the garden. "I can't fail them," Owen forced himself to think, searching for the strength he knew was within him. He took a deep breath, trying to push away the visions. "I will fight. Not just for me, but for all of us." The mist seemed to hesitate, and for a moment, Owen felt the presence of his friends around him. Lyra appeared in his mind, her wings faded, but still glowing with hope. "You're stronger than you think, Owen. We believe in you," she said, her voice soft like the song of birds in the garden. Owen lifted his head, his heart pounding harder. "You're right, Lyra. The friendship we've built has given me strength. I'm not alone." He felt a wave of determination rise within him, like a flame reigniting. "That's the spirit, Owen," shouted Finn, the mischievous energy of the sprite echoing in his thoughts. "We're in this together, just like always." The memory of the sprite playing and challenging him brought a smile to his face. The garden's light seemed to shine a little brighter now, as if responding to his determination. Owen closed his eyes and focused on the amulet Finn had given him, feeling its energy pulsing in his hands. "I'll use this," he murmured to himself. "I'll channel the strength of friendship and nature. I won't let the darkness win." With renewed determination, he opened his eyes and faced the colossal shadow rising before him, revealing the ancient goddess of destruction. Her gaze was cold and piercing, a primordial force threatening everything Owen and his friends had fought for. "Do you really think you can defeat me, young artist?" the goddess laughed, her voice booming like thunder. "You're nothing but a puppet in the hands of fate." Owen felt his heart race, but he didn't back down. "I'm not a puppet. I'm Owen, and I'll fight for everyone I love." He raised the amulet, feeling the energy surge through his body. "I believe in the magic of friendship and the strength of the garden." In response, the goddess unleashed a wave of dark energy toward him, but Owen focused, channeling the light from the amulet. With a cry of determination, he sent the energy back, creating a shield of light that began to dispel the darkness. "I won't let you destroy what we've built," Owen exclaimed, feeling the union of his emotions and memories transform into power. The battle had only just begun, and he was ready to face whatever came next. Owen was surrounded by an intense aura, the air vibrating with the energy of the battle unfolding. In front of him, the goddess of destruction, a majestic and terrifying figure, loomed like a storm ready to strike. Her eyes were like abysses, reflecting the pain and ambition that had corrupted her. He felt the power of magic pulsing within him, a deep connection with his friends and the garden that had become his home. But the revelation that had surfaced in his mind left him frozen. You're my mother, Owen murmured, his voice almost lost in the chaos around him. The shock of the discovery hit him like a physical blow. The goddess before him, with all her fury, was the same woman he had lost, consumed by a power she should have never desired. The goddess looked at him, and for a brief moment, the rage in her eyes gave way to confusion. "Owen, my son," she said, her voice filled with disbelief. "How is this possible? I am but a shadow of what I once was. You don't have to be like this." Owen shouted, his determination renewed. "You can come back. You can free yourself from this curse. I won't give up on you." Finn, Lyra, and Helios approached, forming a circle around Owen, their presence strengthening the connection he felt. "We're with you, Owen," Lyra said, her voice as soft as a spring breeze. "Together, we can help her find the light again." The goddess hesitated, her form trembling as if she was fighting against invisible chains. "But I don't know if there's any light left in me. I've done terrible things. The power consumed me, and I let destruction into my heart." "We all make mistakes," Helios said, his voice deep and reassuring. "But true strength lies in recognizing those mistakes and choosing the path of redemption. Let us help you find your true self." With those words, Owen felt a surge of courage. He held the amulet that Finn had given him, feeling its energy resonate with the emotions around him. "Mom, I know you're still in there. You are more than this shadow. You are love, you are family. Please, come back to me." The goddess looked at Owen, tears streaming down her ethereal face. "My son, I didn't know you still cared. I thought I had lost everything. You haven't lost anything. We can rebuild together. Just take the first step," Owen pleaded, his voice firm but full of tenderness. In an instant, something changed. The dark energy surrounding the goddess began to dissolve, like mist under the morning sun. Owen stepped forward, reaching out his hand. "Trust me, Mom. You can be free." She hesitated one more time, but finally, with a trembling motion, she reached out toward him. When their hands touched, a burst of light exploded, illuminating the entire garden. The vibrant colors that had disappeared returned in a mesmerizing display, filling the air with lush flowers and rich fragrances. I feel the light again," the goddess exclaimed, her voice now softer, less threatening. "I feel you, my son." The battle was nearing its end. The goddess of destruction, now beginning to transform, looked around with a gaze full of regret. "I'm so sorry for all that I caused. I just wanted power, but I let ambition consume me." "There can be forgiveness," Finn said, his usual playful tone now touched with sincerity. "As long as you're willing to change. The garden needs you, and so do we." With a final sigh, the goddess bowed, letting the negative energy dissipate like smoke in the wind. "Thank you, my son. Thank you all. I promise to seek the light again." Owen smiled, his heart feeling light. He realized he had not only found his mother, but also a new purpose. Together, they could restore what had been lost. And so, as the garden bloomed around them, Owen knew that he had finally found not only the peace he had long sought, but also a home where magic and friendship would forever flourish. Good night and enchanted dreams.